So welcome to part 3 of using willpower, and in this part we're gonna, actually in the last part, we actually talked about using willpower to reduce stress. And in this part I'm going to talk about using willpower to increase free time. So most people have habits to, most people don't have habits to increase free time. They have habits to reduce free time. And guilt, frustration, and resignation typically play a part in this. Example, people feel guilty about having free time and thus sabotage themselves when the idea of creating more free time comes up. So the habits include habits to squelch the willpower to increase free time. Example, bad time management habits. Thinking in terms of activity, which tends to increase the number of hours worked, rather than thinking in terms of outcomes, which tends to reduce the time worked. Example, if you think of getting the same outcome done as soon as possible and with the best resources, you're more likely to use less time to produce the same output as you would have if you just thought in terms of activity. So you see that in sales, for example, a lot. Salespeople come to me in their trainings and they tell me today they're going to do 5 hours of calling. Well, that's activity based. So you're going to spend 5 hours, which typically ends up being, frankly, about 6 hours really, because they go into overtime. A lot of guilt, of course, plays into that. But if they had aimed to get 5 referrals in the next hour and a half, let's say, that would have been more productive, especially in the long run as you get more and more referrals. So that's certainly, one way to kind of trick yourself to produce more in less time. So the takeaway here is really, slow build is what's required to build the willpower to increase free time. You want to take stock of the number of hours of free time that you actually have already. You're reliable at creating right now. So in our coaching programs, in Escalator 2, for example, clients get access to a time tracker software that tracks their time being allocated for different categories, free time versus eating time versus workout time versus sales prospecting, etc., etc. And this heightened awareness is sometimes sufficient to ignite and motivate people to start increasing free time. But typically it takes longer. So you want to start with a slow build and then build slowly over time. So example, if your measured free time per week is about 8 hours, then you want to schedule your week in the next week to have 8 hours and 10 minutes. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it really does work. Then in the next 2 weeks, increase that by maybe 15 minutes to 8 hours and 15 minutes. Then gradually increase the rate of increase per week, and before you know it, you will have more free time. My clients are constantly surprised by how unconscious they are to the sustained improvement. That is, the improvement, although it occurs very slowly over a few months, is more substantial than they even imagined it to be when they started out. But if they started out too aggressively, they would not achieve their renewed willpower and improved habits. So I hope you enjoyed this series in terms of using willpower. We're probably going to talk about more about willpower in the days and weeks and months to come. And there are tons of other topics that we're going to share with you about. I'm very, very excited to bring all of this to you, and look forward to our next blog posting here very soon. Take care and have a wonderful day.